Hi guys, here is very fascinating and interesting story that will struck a chord with you. If you like it, like and comment a video and subscribe to our channel.
The Galactic Union's recruitment call, blasted across the stars, delivered a chilling ultimatum that echoed through every known sector of space. Unlike the cooperative communications usually sent by the Union, this one was blunt, uncompromising. This mission held a 99.9% fatality rate. Success would grant wealth, honor, and everlasting recognition within the Union. Failure guaranteed death. These words resonated alongside visuals depicting shattered alien worlds, burning wastes, and skeletal remains. The galaxy watched in horrified silence. It was not a request for aid, but a dare, a final resort to solve a problem deemed too dangerous for even the Union's elites. On Earth, the response was anything but horrified. It was electrifying. Military strategists, intrepid explorers, and bold civilians debated the broadcast, their eyes alight with fascination. Among them, one voice rose above the din. Commander Aiden Holt. In his late 30s, Aiden was a seasoned adventurer turned interstellar leader. His sharp hazel eyes, framed by lines from countless battles, followed every second of the transmission. He leaned back in his chair on the bridge of the Horizon, Earth's first deep space exploration vessel, and a smirk crept onto his lips. "They're desperate," muttered Lieutenant Kavos, the ship's lead strategist, her short black hair barely shifting as she leaned over the console. "You don't send a message like that unless you're out of options." "Desperate or arrogant?" said Dr. Elias Grant, the team's chief scientist, adjusting his glasses while examining the data streaming across his tablet. "This mission is practically suicidal. Look at these radiation spikes, gravitational anomalies, and hostile fauna that make Earth's apex predators look like house pets. It's a death trap." "It's a challenge," said Sergeant Nathan Cole, the team's weapons specialist, his voice calm but hinting at anticipation. He leaned back against the bulkhead, arms crossed. "And one hell of an opportunity." Aiden's smirk widened into a grin. "Exactly. They think no one can handle this. They think humanity is just another fledgling species. Let's show them they're wrong." The room fell silent as his words sank in. Then Kara laughed, breaking the tension. "You're insane, Aiden. You know that, right?" "Maybe," Aiden said, his tone light but resolute. "But you're still here." When the Horizons application was submitted to the Union, the response was immediate and filled with disbelief. A holographic projection of a Union official materialized in the briefing room, their translucent, silver-skinned form almost shimmering in the dim light. Their voice, clipped and skeptical, inquired, "Do you understand the conditions of Zyra Prime?" the official asked, referring to the planet in question. "No species has survived even preliminary exploration. You lack the experience needed for such an endeavor." Aiden met the alien's glowing amber eyes without flinching. "We've reviewed the data. We're ready." The alien's expression betrayed disappointment. "You are newcomers to the galactic stage. This mission will be the end of you." "Maybe," Aiden said, leaning forward slightly, "but if we fail, at least we tried. Will you tell the galaxy you turned away the only volunteers willing to step up?" The official hesitated, their glowing eyes narrowing. Finally, they nodded. "Very well. You are authorized to undertake the task. But understand this. Failure will not earn you respect. It will confirm humanity's recklessness." Aiden smiled, a hint of defiance in his gaze. Preparations aboard the Horizon commenced instantly. Kara spent hours analyzing the Union's incomplete data, mapping potential routes through Zyra Prime. Elias worked tirelessly in the lab, recalibrating equipment to withstand the planet's brutal conditions. Nathan doubled his training sessions, sharpening his reflexes for the inevitable dangers. Despite the mission's gravity, the crew's camaraderie remained intact. One evening, during a hastily prepared meal in the mess hall, Elias voiced what everyone was thinking. "They're betting we'll die," he stated, his tone half joking but with an edge of seriousness. Aiden shrugged. "Let them. It'll make success that much sweeter." Nathan smirked. "And if we succeed, they'll just call it luck." "They can call it whatever they want," Kara said, raising her glass, "as long as we make it back." On the day of departure, a formal gathering was held at the Union's central hub. A small crowd of curious onlookers and skeptical dignitaries assembled as the humans stood proudly in front of their ship. The Union's ambassador addressed them, their tone a mixture of formality and veiled disapproval. "Today we witness either an act of unparalleled bravery or a display of foolishness," the ambassador said. "Humanity, new to our community, has chosen to undertake a task that has defeated even our finest. While your optimism is commendable, let us temper it with realism. The odds are not in your favor." Aiden stepped forward, cutting the speech short. "Thanks for the vote of confidence," he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. He glanced back at his team, then at the gathered crowd. "We'll see you when we get back." The ambassador stiffened, but Aiden didn't care. This wasn't about ceremony, it was about the mission. As the horizon lifted off, leaving the Union's capital behind, Aiden felt a surge of anticipation. "Set course for Zyra Prime," he ordered, his voice steady. Kara punched in the coordinates, and the hum of the engines intensified as the ship prepared for hyperspace. "Everyone ready?" Aiden asked, glancing around the bridge. "Born ready," Nathan grinned. "Let's show them what humans can do," Kara smirked. As the horizon jumped to light speed, Aiden leaned back in his chair, his expression one of quiet determination. He knew the risks, he knew the odds, but he also knew this. Humanity thrived where others faltered, and this time they would prove it to the galaxy. The horizon exited hyperspace at the edge of the Zyra Prime system. Its hull shimmered faintly from the jump's stress. Before the crew stretched a panorama that could inspire poets or nightmares. Zyra Prime's atmosphere glowed with a sickly green hue, shrouded by swirling clouds of ash and lightning. The planet's surface was obscured by a churning storm that seemed almost alive, pulsing with energy. "Looks inviting," Nathan Cole quipped from his station, his hands resting casually on his weapons console. "Inviting if you like acid rain and gravity anomalies," Kavos replied, her fingers dancing over the navigational controls. "The sensors are struggling to make sense of the atmosphere. It's chaos down there." Commander Aiden Holt stepped forward, his sharp eyes scanning the view from the reinforced bridge window. He crossed his arms and let out a low whistle. "They weren't exaggerating. This place is hell." "Hell is manageable," Dr. Elias Grant muttered, his voice laced with both sarcasm and unease as he analyzed incoming data on his tablet. This is an active death trap. Temperature fluctuations, atmospheric pressure spikes, and... Wait." His voice trailed off as he tapped frantically on his screen. "Are those life signs?" Kara leaned closer to her display, her eyes narrowing. "Confirmed. Multiple signatures, and they're big." "Whatever's down there isn't friendly," Nathan said, cracking his knuckles. "They never are." Aiden straightened. "All right, people. We knew this wouldn't be easy. Kara, plot us a course to a landing zone as close as possible to the artifact signal. Elias, keep analyzing the data. We need every edge we can get. Nathan, get the weapons primed just in case." The crew responded with curt nods and swift action. The Horizon's engines roared to life, guiding the ship toward the hostile planet below. The descent was anything but smooth. Violent winds buffeted the ship, and the reinforced hull groaned under atmospheric pressure. The storm outside raged, green lightning cracking across the darkened skies. Acid rain splattered against the viewport, leaving faint scorch marks. "Landing zone in sight," Kara called out, her voice steady despite the turbulence. It's tight, though, cliffs on all sides, and the terrain is shifting. Shifting? Nathan asked, raising an eyebrow. As in, moving, Elias interjected. Seismic activity is off the charts. This whole area could collapse if we're not careful. Noted, Aiden said. Take us in, Kara, nice and easy. Easy, she muttered, her hands deftly guiding the horizon through the storm. The ship touched down with a jarring thud, its landing struts sinking slightly into the unstable ground. Alarms flickered briefly before subsiding. Outside, the storm howled, and the air shimmered with an eerie green glow. "We're down," Kara announced, exhaling sharply. "But I wouldn't count on the ground staying solid for long." "Understood," Aiden said, unbuckling his harness. He turned to the crew. "All right, gear up. This is what we came for. Elias, bring the scanner. Nathan, you're on point." Nathan grinned, slinging his rifle over his shoulder. "Let's see what this planet's got." The team assembled at the airlock, their armor glinting under the dim interior lights. Each member carried specialized equipment, from Elias's portable scanner to Kara's environmental monitor. Aiden stood at the front, his weapon held at the ready. "Remember," he said, his tone firm, "stick together, stay sharp, and don't take unnecessary risks. We're here to complete the mission and get out alive." The airlock hissed open, and the team stepped into the storm. The acidic wind bit at their armor, and visibility was minimal. The world around them cloaked in swirling mist and shadows. The ground beneath their boots felt unstable, shifting subtly with each step. Elias's scanner beeped softly, its display lighting up with readings. "Artifact signal is stronger now. It's about 3 kilometers to the northwest." "Then that's where we're headed," Aiden said, motioning for the team to move. As they trekked across the hostile terrain, the storm intensified. The team moved cautiously, weapons drawn, their eyes scanning for any sign of movement. The signs of life that Kara had registered earlier hovered on the periphery of their instruments, drawing nearer with each pace. "Hold it," Nathan ordered, raising a hand. The squad halted as he crouched, his keen eyes narrowing. "Something's out there." Before any of them could respond, a piercing shriek split the storm. A colossal entity materialized from the haze, its reptilian frame sheened with acidic rainfall. It stood on 4 stout limbs, its eyes ablaze with a menacing orange hue. Razor-sharp spines lined its back, and its gaping maw revealed rows of serrated teeth. "Contact!" Nathan yelled, discharging his rifle. The creature roared, charging toward them with unnerving haste. Aiden unleashed his fire, his shots targeting its legs while Kara moved to its side, seeking a vulnerable point. Elias took cover behind a rock, feverishly scanning the beast for weaknesses. "Aim for the joints," Elias exclaimed. "That's where the armor is thinnest." Nathan's subsequent shot struck the creature's foreleg, causing it to stumble. Kara capitalized on the chance, unleashing a blast of plasma fire at its exposed flank. The beast emitted a guttural bellow, retreating slightly but not yielding. "It's adapting," Kara observed, gritting her teeth. "We must end this swiftly." Aiden nodded. "Nathan, cover us. Kara, with me. We're targeting the head." The two moved in unison, their weapons blazing as they closed the distance. The creature reared back, poised to strike, but Aiden was quicker. He focused directly on its incandescent eyes and fired. The shot connected true, and the beast collapsed with a final, ear-splitting shriek. The team stood silent, regaining their breath as the tempest raged around them. "One down," Aiden stated, reloading his weapon. "Let's hope there aren't many more." Elias's scanner beeped again, drawing their attention. "Signal's stronger now. We're close." "Good," Aiden replied, his tone decisive. "Let's move. We didn't come this far to retreat now." The tempest howled around the group as they pushed deeper into the harsh terrain of Zyra Prime, each footstep on the unstable earth feeling like a gamble, the surface groaning underfoot as if cautioning them of hidden perils below. Overhead, the green-tinged clouds swirled with violent power, sporadically lit by jagged bolts of lightning. "Signal is straight ahead," Elias announced above the roar of the storm, his portable scanner glowing faintly. "We're under a kilometer out." "Fine," Aiden declared, his voice resolute but low, eyes keen. "Listen carefully. This world hasn't granted us an easy ride yet, and I doubt it's starting now." Nathan, taking lead, reduced his speed. He raised a clenched fist, signaling the squad to halt. The terrain ahead descended into a narrow valley where jagged spires of black rock projected upward like the teeth of a monstrous beast. Between them, ruins emerged from the mist, colossal, ancient, and undeniably alien. "That's undoubtedly the source," Kara remarked, her voice tinged with both awe and caution. "Those structures look like nothing I've seen in any Union database." "That's because they aren't Union," Elias murmured, his eyes scanning the intricate glyphs etched into the ruined surfaces. "This predates them by millennia. Whoever constructed this, they were advanced, possibly even more so than the Union now." Aiden advanced, his weapon raised. "Let's discover what they left behind." The team descended into the valley, their movements measured and careful. The air grew heavier as they approached the ruins, carrying a metallic scent that clung to the back of their throats. The glyphs on the structures pulsed slightly, casting an eerie luminescence that seemed to dance in rhythm with the storm. At the base of the largest structure, a towering archway loomed, its entrance obscured in shadow. Kara activated her environmental monitor, scanning for any immediate threats. "No life signs," she said. "At least none that the scanner can detect." "That's encouraging," Nathan muttered, his grip tightening on his rifle. Elias approached the glyphs, his curiosity overriding his caution. He extended his gloved fingers, tracing the intricate patterns. The moment his hand made contact, the glyphs flared brightly, and a low hum filled the air. "What did you do?" Nathan asked, his weapon snapping toward the entrance. "Nothing," Elias replied, stepping back quickly. "It's reacting on its own." Before anyone could react, the ground beneath them quaked, and the archway started to shift. Massive stone doors, long hidden within the walls, slid open with a groan that reverberated through the valley. Beyond them lay a dark corridor, its walls lined with more glowing glyphs. "That doesn't sound threatening at all," Kara observed, her voice dry. Aiden adjusted the grip on his weapon and advanced toward the entrance. "Stay close." "We're going in." The interior of the structure was cold and quiet, the air heavy with the weight of ancient history. Their boots echoed softly against the polished stone floor as they moved forward, their lights cutting through the oppressive darkness. The glyphs along the walls pulsed faintly, illuminating alien carvings and statues that lined the corridor. Elias paused to examine one of the statues, his brow furrowed. "These aren't merely decorations," he stated. "They appear to be sentinels. Guardians." "Guardians of what?" Kara inquired, her tone uneasy. "Whatever the relic is," Aiden said. "Keep advancing. We're not stopping until we find it." The corridor opened into a massive chamber, its ceiling disappearing into shadow. In the center of the room was a pedestal, and atop it rested a crystalline artifact. It pulsed with a soft, otherworldly glow, casting strange reflections across the walls. "That's it," Elias announced, his voice a mix of wonder and apprehension. "That's what's been emitting the signal." Aiden approached the pedestal cautiously, his senses heightened. "Elias, anything on the scanner?" Elias glanced at his device and frowned. "The energy readings are off the scale. Whatever this thing is, it's powerful, and it's active." "Can we move it?" Kara asked, her eyes darting around the chamber. "We can try," Aiden responded. He reached out his hand, hovering over the artifact for a moment before grasping it firmly. The moment he made contact, the chamber shook violently, and the glyphs flared with blinding light. Guys, Nathan stammered, his voice rising. We've got movement. The statues lining the walls began to stir, their stone forms cracking as they came to life. Their eyes glowed with the same light as the artifact, and they moved forward in unison, their massive forms radiating menace. Guardians, Elias declared, his voice taut. Definitely guardians. Fall back, Aiden shouted, cradling the artifact as he turned toward the corridor. Move now. The team sprinted for the exit as the guardians advanced, their heavy footsteps echoing through the chamber. Nathan fired over his shoulder, his shots sparking harmlessly against the creature's impenetrable exteriors. Those things don't go down easily, he yelled. Then don't stop to fight, Aiden snapped. They burst back into the storm, the howling wind and acidic rain assaulting them as they fled. Behind them, the guardians emerged from the ruins, their glowing eyes cutting through the mist like beacons. Horizon, we need immediate evac, Aiden called into his calm. On it, Kara replied, her voice crackling through the storm. The Horizon's engines roared to life in the distance, and its lights pierced the darkness as it descended toward the valley. The team sprinted for the ship, the Guardians gaining ground with every stride. Nathan turned and fired again, aiming for their legs to slow them down. One Guardian stumbled, but the others pressed on. Ramp down! Move now! Kara called from the ship as the ramp extended. The team scrambled aboard, and Aiden slammed his fist on the control panel to raise the ramp. The Horizon lifted off, its thrusters flaring as it ascended. The Guardians roared below, their pursuit ending as the ship disappeared into the storm. Inside the cabin, the team collapsed into their seats, breathing heavily. The artifact sat secured in the containment field, its crystalline surface pulsing faintly. Well, Nathan remarked, breaking the silence, that was exciting. Define exciting, Kara muttered, wiping rain from her face. Aiden leaned back, his gaze fixed on the artifact. We've got it now. We must figure out what it is and why it's worth all this. Elias nodded, his eyes narrowing. Let's hope the answer is worth it. The Horizon glided through the vacuum of space, leaving Zyra Prime's volatile atmosphere behind. The ship's exterior bore the scars of their escape, scorch marks and dents marring its once pristine surface. Inside, the crew sat around the artifact, an intense silence enveloping them, its crystalline surface pulsing faintly within the containment field. That thing almost got us killed, Kara declared, breaking the stillness. Her voice was sharp, her posture rigid as she gestured toward the glowing object. We don't even know what it is, and we dragged it onto the ship. Nathan leaned back in his chair, his rifle propped against the wall beside him. It's not like we had a choice. Leaving it behind wasn't exactly an option. Elias hunched over his portable scanner, not looking up. It's more than just an artifact, he muttered. The energy signatures are unlike anything I've encountered. This isn't just ancient tech, it's alive. Kara threw her hands up. Alive? That's reassuring. It isn't hostile, Elias stated, casting a glance toward her. If it were, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Aiden, positioned at the table's head, finally spoke, his tone calm but laced with command. Hostile or not, we need to understand what it wants. Elias, can you extract more data from it? Elias adjusted the scanner, a furrow creasing his brow in concentration. The energy readings are fluctuating. It's almost as if it's reacting. Reacting to what? Aiden pressed. Elias shrugged. Perhaps the ship, the environment. I can't say, but I can confirm this. It's not random. Its actions have intent. The artifact's glow intensified, enveloping the room in a gentle, unsettling light. Its energies hum amplified, and the air seemed to vibrate. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. What's it doing now? Nathan inquired, his hand instinctively gravitating toward his weapon. I believe it's attempting communication, Elias said, almost whispering. Before anyone could reply, the artifact emitted a burst of light, and a wave of energy surged through the chamber. The crew staggered, gripping the nearest objects to maintain their balance. When the light faded, an image materialized, suspended above the artifact's crystalline surface. It was a hologram, its form shifting, incomplete, but undeniably humanoid. "What in the cosmos is that?" Kara asked, her voice strained. The hologram's form stabilized, revealing a figure encased in intricate armor. Its face was concealed by a helm adorned with luminescent glyphs. Its voice, deep and resonant, echoed with an otherworldly timbre as it spoke. "You who have found this relic stand upon the precipice of destiny." "Cryptic space messages, just what we needed," Nathan muttered. The hologram's gaze seemed to shift, scanning the room. "This artifact is a key, forged by those who came before. It is both a weapon and a guide. In the wrong hands it will bring ruin. In the right ones it might preserve what remains." "Preserve from what?" Aiden asked, advancing toward the artifact. The hologram hesitated, its form flickering. "The devourer. A force that consumes all it touches. It has awakened, and it will come for you as it came for us." "Came for who?" Elias asked urgently. The hologram's form further destabilized, its edges dissolving into static. "Time is short. You must prepare. Seek the lost beacons. Only they can illuminate the path." The image vanished, and the room fell silent, save for the artifact's faint hum. "What the hell just happened?" Kara asked, her voice breaking the momentary quiet. Elias shook his head, hands slightly trembling as he checked the scanner. "That wasn't a mere recording. It was interactive. It knew us." Aiden turned to the group, his expression inscrutable. "We now have a significantly larger problem. If what that thing said is true, we're facing something far more menacing than the Union, something that could destroy everything." "And it expects us to fix it," Nathan noted, leaning forward. "How do we even begin to do that? We don't even know what these beacons are or where they're located." "One step at a time," Aiden declared firmly. "First, analyze everything we've got. Elias, see if the artifact holds any additional data. Kara, cross-reference those glyphs with the Union database. Nathan, keep the weapons primed. If the devourer is real, we'll need every edge we can get." The crew nodded, their determination outweighing their fear. As the horizon continued its journey, the artifact's light pulsed steadily, a subtle reminder of the message they'd received. The crew worked diligently, their focus unyielding despite the magnitude of the undertaking. Aiden stood alone on the bridge, gazing out at the stars. His mind swirled with questions, but one thought burned brighter than the rest. Humanity had survived against impossible odds before. They'd do it again. "Whatever's out there," he muttered to himself, "we'll face it. Together." The horizon's engines hummed rhythmically, streaking through the void, creating as much distance as possible between the crew and Zyra Prime. Despite the relative quiet of hyperspace, the weight of the artifact's warning pressed upon the team like a storm cloud. Aiden Holt stood on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back, as he observed the starlight beyond the viewport. The artifact was secure in its containment field nearby, its crystalline surface faintly pulsating. Its light cast an eerie glow, seeming to sync with the ship's gentle vibrations. "How does it look?" Aiden asked without turning. Kavos glanced up from her console. "We're holding our course to the closest Union relay station. ETA is 3 hours. No signs of pursuit. Yet." Keyword being yet, Nathan Cole added from his position near the weapons console. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, his rifle propped beside him. "If the Union finds out what we're carrying, they'll be all over us." Elias Grant glanced up from his workstation, a series of holographic readouts hovering around him. "We don't even truly understand what we're transporting," he murmured. "This thing. It's far more than just a key or a weapon. It's tied to something massive, something ancient. The more I study it, the more questions I generate." "Then keep digging," Aiden directed. "We need answers before the next piece of this puzzle surfaces." 3 hours later, the Horizon exited hyperspace near the Union Relay Station. The station orbited a barren planet, its skeletal structure bristling with communication arrays and docking platforms. As the Horizon approached, a crackling voice came over the comms. "Unidentified vessel. This is Union Relay 47. State your purpose and identification." Kara activated the comms, her voice calm and professional. "Relay 47. This is the Horizon Independent Exploration Vessel, requesting access to your database for navigation updates and historical archives." A pause ensued, followed by a curt reply. "Horizon, you are cleared to dock at Platform C. Transmitting coordinates now." Aiden nodded to Kara, and she guided the ship toward the assigned platform. The docking clamps engaged with a metallic thud, and the hum of the ship's engines subsided. "Elias, Nathan, you're with me," Aiden said as he secured his sidearm. "Kara, keep the ship locked down and the artifact secure. If something feels off, lift off and don't wait for us." Kara frowned but nodded. "Understood." The station's interior was dimly lit, its corridors lined with flickering panels and worn metal plating. It had the feel of a place long past its prime, maintained by necessity rather than pride. Aiden led the way, his eyes scanning every shadow, every corner. "You're on edge," Nathan noted, his voice low as they walked. "Expect trouble, always," Aiden replied, "especially now." They reached the central archive, a cavernous room filled with towering data stacks and holographic interfaces. A solitary attendant, a wiry alien with a hunched posture and elongated fingers, greeted them with a blend of curiosity and suspicion. "What do you seek?" the alien asked, its voice a raspy whisper. Elias stepped forward, presenting a data pad. "We need access to historical records, specifically anything related to ancient galactic civilizations and artifacts matching this description." He tapped the pad, displaying an image of the artifact. The alien's eyes narrowed, and it hesitated before gesturing toward one of the consoles. "Begin your search there, but be warned. Knowledge of the old ones carries a price." "We'll take our chances," Aiden said. As Elias worked, sifting through fragmented ancient records and encrypted data, Aiden and Nathan stood guard. The archive's quiet hum was disrupted only by the occasional beep of the console or the alien's shuffling movements. "Found something," Elias stated suddenly, his voice infused with excitement and unease. "There are references to a network of beacons scattered across the galaxy. They were constructed by a precursor species to monitor, and if needed, combat, a catastrophic force, the devourer." Aiden's expression darkened. Elias nodded. "It aligns. These beacons are meant to function as a warning system and a weapon, but most have been lost or deactivated over time." "Any leads on how to find them?" Nathan asked. Elias frowned, scrolling through the data. "There's one potential location. A system deep in uncharted space. The records are vague, but it's our best option." Aiden clapped him on the shoulder. "Good work. Let's head back to the Horizon." As they exited the archive, an uneasy feeling settled over Aiden. The corridor seemed darker, the air heavier. He motioned for the others to halt. His instincts were on high alert. "We have company," he said quietly. Nathan raised his rifle, his eyes scanning the shadows. A moment later, the sound of approaching footsteps echoed through the corridor. A squad of Union enforcers emerged, their weapons drawn and aimed. "Captain Holt," the lead enforcer stated, his tone cold. You are carrying something that doesn't belong to you. Surrender it, and we'll let you leave. Aiden's jaw tightened. Not happening. The Enforcer's expression hardened. Then you've made your choice. The corridor erupted into chaos as both sides opened fire. Aiden and his team moved with practiced precision, taking cover behind bulkheads and returning fire. The Enforcers were well trained, but the Horizon's crew had faced worse. "We need to move," Aiden shouted over the gunfire. "Kara's already ready for takeoff." "Copy that," Kara's voice crackled over the comms. The team fought their way back to the docking platform, the Enforcers close behind. As they reached the horizon, the ramp lowered, and Kara's voice called out, "Get in!" Aiden and the others sprinted aboard, and the ramp closed behind them. The ship's engines roared to life, and it lifted off just as the Enforcers reached the platform. Plasma bolts ricocheted off the hull as the Horizon shot into the sky. Inside the ship, the crew regrouped, their breaths heavy but determined. The artifact pulsed steadily, its light casting eerie shadows across the cabin. "They know," Nathan said, his voice grim. "The Union knows what we're carrying." "Let's move," Aiden stated, his gaze fixed on the star-speckled expanse ahead. "We've secured a decent head start, and we now know the path to follow." "They won't stop us," Elias affirmed, a resolute expression etched on his face. "The next beacon, that's where we'll find answers." The view of the horizon receding into hyperspace, distancing itself from the Union and their enforcers. The crew's path forward, though unclear, was underscored by a crystal-clear mission. They were humanity's sole beacon of hope, battling against the impending darkness. The horizon decelerated, emerging from hyperspace, and entered the dark void of an uncharted system. Looming before them was a desolate planet, marked by jagged cliffs and vast craters. The atmosphere shimmered, hinting at lingering radiation, or perhaps some other unknown danger. The coordinates, painstakingly gathered from the Union archives, guided them to the potential location of the first lost beacon. Aiden Holt leaned forward in the captain's chair, eyes narrowed, scrutinizing the planet below. "This has to be it. Elias, anything on sensors?" Elias Grant's hands danced across his console, gathering data as the scanner swept the planet's surface. "I'm detecting a faint energy signature near the southern hemisphere. It's subtle, yet undeniably unnatural." "That's our target," Aiden confirmed, turning his attention to the crew. "Kara, prepare to descend. Nathan, prep for ground operations. This might get intense." Kavos nodded, her fingers flying over the controls as the Horizon prepared to descend toward the planet. The ship's hull groaned slightly as it plunged through the atmosphere, the cabin rattling with turbulence. "Gravity is a tad heavier than standard Earth norms," Kara announced, making necessary adjustments. "Brace yourselves." The Horizon landed on a rocky plateau overlooking a vast canyon. Jagged rock formations stood out like the spines of some great beast, while the ground was littered with metal debris. The subtle hum of the artifact, ensconced in its containment field, echoed through the cabin, its light pulsing dimly as if reacting to the planet's peculiar energy. Aiden stood, securing his sidearm, an expression of utter resolve etched on his face. "Right, team, let's move." The ramp lowered, allowing the crew to enter the unforgiving environment. The air, thin but breathable, carried a metallic tang that clung to their senses. The ground beneath their boots gave way with each step, a mixture of gravel and fragmented metal. "Something feels off," Nathan Cole muttered, his rifle held at the ready. "As if something is watching." "Stay vigilant," Aiden commanded, leading the charge. "Elias, keep tracking that signal." Elias raised his portable scanner. Its screen flickered as it locked onto the energy signature. "It's close, roughly 500 meters in that direction," he indicated toward a shadowy canyon. "Of course, it's in the creepy canyon," Kara murmured, rolling her eyes. The crew moved cautiously through the canyon, their footsteps echoing off the jagged walls. The shadows seemed to deepen, amplifying the oppressive silence. The artifact's hum grew louder, the light intensifying with each step. "Almost there," Elias announced, voice laced with anticipation. "The signal originates from that structure up ahead." The canyon opened into a wide clearing, where at its center stood an ancient obelisk. This towering structure displayed the same glyphs as the artifact, emitting an otherworldly light. Scattered debris of machinery suggested a battle had once taken place. "That's it," Elias breathed. "The beacon." Aiden cautiously approached, weapon drawn. The air near the obelisk felt charged, humming with an unseen energy. The artifact's light pulsated in sync with the beacon, as though they were communicating. "What's our next move?" Nathan asked, keeping his rifle trained on the shadows. "Elias," Aiden directed, gesturing toward the beacon. "See if you can interface with it." Elias nodded, stepping forward and pulling a data uplink from his pack. He linked it to a panel at the base of the obelisk, fingers moving swiftly over the controls. The glyphs on the obelisk intensified, and the hum grew louder. "It's activating," Elias declared, excitement and apprehension mixed in his tone. The ground beneath them trembled, and the air vibrated. A holographic projection erupted from the obelisk, revealing a galaxy map dotted with points of light representing beacons. "There's a whole network," Kara said, eyes wide, "but most are dark." Elias frowned. "Inactive or destroyed." A point of light shone brighter, pulsating. Aiden pointed toward it. "That's our next destination." Before anyone could respond, a deafening roar erupted through the canyon. The crew whirled, weapons raised, as a massive creature emerged from the shadows. Its scaled body featured bioluminescent markings, and its multiple eyes emitted a dangerous malevolence. "Contact!" Nathan shouted, firing. The creature charged with unnerving speed for its size. Plasma bolts struck its thick hide, leaving scorch marks but failing to slow it. "Get to cover and keep firing," Aiden commanded. Elias screamed as the beacon's glyphs intensified. The air around the obelisk began to vibrate. The creature let out a terrible guttural roar. "Finish what you're doing, Elias." "Done," Elias called. "There's a countermeasure." The beacon then exploded into energy and incinerated the monster, leaving only dust and fragments. The team stood silent in the clearing. "What just happened?" Kara's voice trembled. "The beacon protected itself." "It's more than a warning, it's a weapon," Aiden asserted. "Let's head back to the horizon. We have much work to do." The beacon glowed steadily, a reminder of the war to come. Humanity had taken its first step in this war, but the battle was far from done.